up, guys? Welcome back to another edition of 101 Sports and Cards. I was on Nathan Owen with me, Jared Josh.
What's going on?
We're starting the NFL. We got a lot to talk about today with football, the baseball playoffs. NBA season starts in 2 weeks. So we're going to dive right into the NFL. The biggest news of the week, the Raiders are open to trading Davante Adams for a second-round pick and additional compensation. Of course, his wish list has the Jets and the Saints on top because of Rodgers and Carr. But who should trade for Davante?
The Jets.
I don't think the Jets should. The Jets are bad. Let's just say they're not good. I think the team that needs to trade is the Washington Commanders. The Commanders have a ton of cap space. Jaden Daniels has played arguably like the best quarterback in the NFL this season as a rookie, which I said that he would. And to have him being able to throw to both Terry McLaurin and Davante Adams, that's a deadly lineup. The NFC East is trash because the Eagles' offense is terrible. The Cowboys as a franchise are terrible. The Commanders are the best team in the division right now. No, you don't even have to mention the Giants because the Giants their season was over 5 years ago because their ownership and GM
They
is
just
suck. Stupid. But the Commanders need to make this happen. They have like $34 million in cap space that they can use. You pair them up. Davante's still going to be one of the best wide receivers in the league over the next 3 to 4 years. You keep him there. You let Jaden grow. As soon as Jaden Daniels' contract needs to be renewed after his rookie deal, by that time, Davante's going to be more than likely out of his prime. It's a perfect opportunity for them to... Because their offense is already great. You add a top 5 wide receiver in the game to that offense. They instantly become the best offense in the league.
Sure.
It's a great move. That should be made. The Bills' Von Miller was suspended 4 games for violating the league's conduct policy. This was from last year when he was accused of something. I don't really know, and frankly, I don't care because it ain't like he helped the Bills last week. Week 4 recap: the Cowboys took down the Giants 20-15. It shouldn't have been this close. Dak 221 yards, 2 touchdowns. Malik Neighbors 115 yards. He is turning into one of the best wide receivers in the league. Just imagine if he actually had a good quarterback to throw him the ball. The Packers comeback falls short as your Minnesota Vikings win 31-29. Sam Darnold 275 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Jordan Addison, his first game off of an ankle injury, had 72 yards and 2 total touchdowns. Jordan Love was terrible in the first half. He bounced back in the second half, ended the game with 389 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 picks. Jaden Reed 139 yards and a touchdown. Christian Watson also got hurt in this game, but what's new? The Chiefs down the Chargers 17-10. Mahomes 245 yards, touchdown, a pick. He also injured Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice is more than likely going to be out the rest of the year, although they have not mentioned anything yet. There's no way he didn't tear his ACL. There's no way he plays a game the rest of the season. The Broncos defeated the Jets 10-9 in a rainy and very crappy game at MetLife. Bo Nix had a whopping 60 yards. He did throw his first career touchdown pass. It was to Cortland Sutton. At halftime, Bo Nix had 4 completions for -7 yards. So, yeah, that just tells you how bad this game was. Aaron Rodgers had 225 yards. It's the first game that he has completed where he has not thrown for a touchdown in his career, which is incredible to think about. The Falcons defeated the Saints 26-24 on a game-winning field goal by Younghoe Koo. Cousins had 238 yards and a pick. Derek Carr, 239 yards and a pick. The Bucs blew out the Eagles 33-16. Baker, 347 yards, 3 total touchdowns. Mike Evans had his best game of the season, 94 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Hurts, 158 yards and a touchdown. This Eagles offense is bad, and they are going to fire their coach eventually because him and Jalen Hurts do not get along. The Bengals picked up their first win of the season over the Panthers, 34-24. Joe Burrow, 232 yards, 2 tutties and a pick. Andy Dalton had 220 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. The Panthers still look good with Andy Dalton. The Texans keep the Jags winless in a 24-20 win. Stroud had 345 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nico Collins He just continues to have an impressive year, 151 yards and a touchdown. Trevor Lawrence sucks, 169 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Colts defeated the Steelers 27-24 despite guess who got injured? Anthony Richardson, a hip injury. And then they were stupid enough to put him back out there on the field so that he could get hit again. You think, you see your quarterback get hurt. If you're going to keep him in the game, what would you not do? That's what they called a QB run play. The first play after he came back. And it's just crappy coaching. Joe Flacco, though, entered the game, had 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor had 88 yards and a touchdown. He is also on the injury report right now. He did not practice today. Justin Fields, his best game as a Steeler, 312 yards, touchdown, 55 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. The Bears took down the Rams 24-18. Caleb Williams, 157 yards and a touchdown. DeAndre Swift, 93 yards and his first touchdown in Chicago. And Stafford had 224 yards and an interception. This makes the Bears look good. They're not. The Rams are just so hurt on offense that their number one receiver is Tutu Atwell. Tutu Atwell wouldn't be a fourth receiver on most teams. The Commanders blew out the Cardinals 42-14. Jaden Daniels, 233 yards, a touchdown, a pick, and a rushing touchdown. He also completed his first month in the NFL as being the best completion percentage by any quarterback ever in a month. Good for him. Brian Robinson, 101 yards and a touchdown. Kyler Murray, 142 yards and a touchdown. And James Conner, 104 yards and a touchdown. I think the Cardinals are finally showing that the first 2 weeks are a fluke. 49ers dominated the Patriots 30-13. Brock Purdy had 288 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Jordan Mason, 123 yards and a touchdown. The Raiders held off the Browns to win 20-16. Gardner Minshew, 130 yards. Deshaun Watson, 176 yards, touchdown, a pick. I don't know what's wrong with the Browns. Deshaun's been playing better. Their defense is bad, and I don't get why. The Ravens dominated the Bills on Sunday night, 35-10. Lamar had 156 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown, but it was Derrick Henry who stole the show. He had 199 yards, including an 87-yard rush touchdown on their first play of the game. He ended the game with 2 total touchdowns, a rushing and a receiving. Josh Allen had only 180 yards. He did not have a touchdown in this game. The Titans picked up their first one of the season over the Dolphins, 31-12. Mason Rudolph had 85 yards. He entered the game after Will Levis suffered an injury. It's nice to see that nobody said Levis suffered an injury, probably because, frankly, nobody cares. But their coach said that Levis is still the starter. It doesn't matter who you start. This Titans team sucks. Tony Pollard, 88 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Huntley, his first start as a Dolphin, had 96 yards and a rushing touchdown. The other game on Monday was the Lions and the Seahawks. The Lions held off a late rally by the Seahawks, 42-29, behind Jared Goff having a perfect game. He went 18 for 18, the most completions ever in a game, of which somebody completed all their passes. He had 192 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs had 78 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Geno had 395 yards, touchdown, a pick. And Kenneth Walker III, 80 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's a huge blow to Zach Charbonnet, fantasy owners like myself. So week 5 is this week. There are quite a few teams that are not playing because bye week. This is the first time we've had a bye week. I don't get why there's a bye week in week 5. It's a stupid-ass rule. Especially with the longer season now. You should not be having a bye week till week 8. At least. So Thursday night is the Bucks and the Falcons.
Falcons.
I'm going with the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers look like a top 3 team in the NFC behind the Vikings and the Commanders. So I'm going to go with the Bucks. Jets and Vikings Sunday morning from London.
Vikings.
I'm also good with the Vikings. Aaron Rodgers has not had much success in London. His last game in London, he got hurt when he was a member of the Packers. And the Jets
suck.
Yeah, they do. Ravens and Bengals.
Ravens.
I'm also going with the Ravens. Colts and Jags.
Colts.
I'm going with the Colts. Dolphins and Patriots, a battle of ass.
Patriots.
I'm also going with the Patriots. This Dolphin, Tyreek Hill came out today and said, because he was in the middle of trade rumors, he came out and said that he's going to stick with the Dolphins. If I'm Tyreek, I'm saying trade me. You don't have a QB. Your best QB has a concussion and brain damage, more than likely. He's not coming back anytime soon. The three guys you've put on the field are trash. I mean, I thought Tyler Huntley would actually look good. He did not. Other than that, you don't have a QB. You can't run the ball. Your defense blows. And the fact that you're in a crappy division, because you can't even say the AFC East is good now, because the Jets are not good. The Patriots are god-awful. The Bills are the only good team, and they just got their asses whooped Sunday night. So, if I'm Tyreek Hill, if I'm anybody on that team, I'm the manager. Browns and Commanders. I'm going to go with the Commanders. Bills and Texans, arguably the best game of the week.
I'm going with the Bills.
I'm going with the Texans. I think the Texans at home will be able to pull it off. Panthers and Bears. I'm going with the Panthers. Everybody can say it's a DJ Moore revenge game against his old team. You know, he can't do everything because Caleb Williams refuses to throw him the ball because Caleb Williams doesn't know how to throw a ball. So give me Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, taking down the Bears. This is going to be a blowout. Raiders and Broncos.
Give me both picks.
I'm taking the Broncos. The Broncos' defense is one of the best defenses in the league. If their offense could pick it up, if they had a reputable quarterback who's not Bo Nix, I'm not going to call him Bo Picks because he hasn't thrown an interception in 2 weeks. Cost me another parlay Sunday. So did Anthony Richardson just because he got hurt. But I'm going to pick the Broncos. Cardinals and 49ers.
49ers.
I'm also going to go with the 49ers. Their core is back. Kittle was back last week, so was Debo. So, yeah. Giants and Seahawks.
Sea Chickens.
I'm also going to go with the Seahawks. Packers and Rams.
Packers.
I'm also going with the Packers. The Rams they're just depleted right now. Sunday night is the Cowboys and the Steelers.
Steelers.
I'm also going to go with the Steelers. Justin Fields and Najee Harris are going to have a field day running the ball against this Cowboys defense. Monday night is the Saints and the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs to stay undefeated just because the Saints, their first 2 weeks was a fluke. They're not that good of a team. Moving on to the association. The biggest news that came out, the Knicks traded for Karl Anthony Towns from the Timberwolves for Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, Keita Bates-Diop, a protected 2025 first-round pick, which actually belongs to the Pistons. The Hornets were the third team in this trade. They received 3 players from the Knicks. The Knicks also got back James Najee, who was a first-round pick from the Hornets last year. And the Hornets received 3 second-round picks, 2 of which came from the Timberwolves. So, who do you like? All I got to say is one of the last articles I wrote for the company that I wrote for before, they shut down the NBA thing because, well, frankly, they suck. And I'm just going to throw that out there. I predicted that the Knicks were going to trade for Karl Anthony Towns. So, who won this trade? The Knicks or the Timberwolves?
Kind of needle. I think it's stupid that the Timberwolves traded Karl Anthony Towns. They need him. They chose him over Rudy Gobert for a big man. Yeah, he has injury issues and clutch time issues. At least he could score the ball. And he can play defense.
I like it for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Just because you add a center, you actually add a good center now instead of Mitchell Robinson. Now, Mitchell Robinson is a good center. He's a good defender, but he's always hurt. Cat is as well. They needed a good center. If I was them, Cat fit better at the 4 next to Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
He's not a true center because he's a terrible defender, for one. I would like them to go out and still make the trade with the Jazz to get Walker Kessler. Start them 2 in the front court. Move one of the people that you were going to start to the bench. Now, they traded Dante DiVincenzo. Everybody was saying, how could they trade somebody from the Nova Knicks? DiVincenzo wanted out. He knew he wasn't going to start. They told him he wasn't going to start. He thinks he is a starter. I'm going to tell you right now, he's not going to like what he finds in Minnesota because he's not going to start for the Timberwolves either. I do like the Timberwolves getting DiVincenzo's he's going to be a solid bench scorer. Julius Randle is a great scorer when healthy. That's the big thing, though. Yeah. When healthy, he's never healthy. Him next to Rudy Gobert is going to be solid. The Timberwolves also made this trade because Cat was owed so much money with his new contract that he signed a couple years ago that to stay under the luxury tax, they were going to have to give up both Naz Reid and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is their best defender behind Rudy Gobert. Naz Reid, they put all the chips in on Naz Reid being their power forward or center of the future, which I think he is. I love Naz Reid. I've loved him since he was drafted. He's a great player. Either way, this is a lose-lose for each. For the Timberwolves, you knew you had to do that. If you were going to get rid of anybody's contract, get rid of Mike Conley. Mike Conley's old, and Anthony Edwards did not like this move. Him and Cat were good friends. This was also a move for them to say, Ant, you're the guy.
Yeah.
You're the guy. But now the second guy on that team is Rudy Gobert. Yeah. And your second option cannot be Rudy Gobert. You didn't see it work out with the Jazz whenever it was him and Donovan Mitchell. It's not going to work out here. They just completely turned their team from being a Western Conference championship team, which they were last year, because they lost to the Mavericks in the conference finals, to now being you're not gonna make it back of this. Ant could go out. Ant is the best young player in the NBA right now besides Wemby, but he cannot lead the whole team. Yeah. For the Knicks, Cat does not move the needle much for me. Like, that lineup's dangerous. Cat is always injured.
He's hit or miss.
He's also a terrible defender. You need a good defensive center in the East to go up with. For one, Embiid, who's lost weight. He's lost like 25 pounds. He's in the best shape of his career. Kristaps. You need a guy who can guard Kristaps. Also, if you somehow make it to the finals, the West, you have a ton of great centers.
Yeah.
With Jokic leading the way. So this does not move the needle for the Knicks either. I like what the Knicks are trying to do. I believe they spent way too much cap space on this than they should have. So it's a lose-lose either way. The Knicks kind of got the edge, but honestly, the best thing that happened for the Timberwolves is that 2025 first-round pick for Detroit. Now, it's heavily protected, so more than likely they're going to get the 2026 first-round pick from the Pistons, which any first-round pick from the Pistons is a good pick.
Yeah.
Some sad news in the NBA world. Dikembe Mutombo passed away from brain cancer at 58 years old. He was a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, which is the most of all time. He's also second in blocks in NBA history. He was also inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2015. Arguably the best defender ever. He wasn't just a great basketball player. He was a great human being. So rest in peace to Dikembe. The NBA preseason begins on Friday there are 3 games, I believe, overseas. I don't remember where they're playing at. The Celtics are the first game. So yes, NBA is back. We've already seen Media Day started Monday. I can't wait. This is the best time of the year. So with this, since there are 3 weeks left until the season, because it begins 22nd, we have this week, next week, and then the next week we will be giving our NBA predictions. So this week and next week I will continue to give my off-season grades. So today is the Warriors, Rockets, and Jazz, both pretty even teams when it came to the offseason. The Warriors, they added Buddy Hield, Kyle Anderson, DeAnthony Melton. They lost Klay Thompson, Chris Paul, and Dario Saric. They drafted nobody because they didn't have a pick. I give the Warriors a B, just because losing Klay is a big part. Klay was a veteran guy, him and Curry. I mean, they're one of the best backcourts of all time. So to break that up is tough, but adding Kyle Anderson, who's a great defender, you had DeAnthony Melton, who's a great bench scorer, and Buddy Hield, who is going to easily replace Klay Thompson, just not defensively.
Yeah.
Although Klay has not been the best defender since, he's basically had leg replacements because he's done everything you can do in injuring your legs. But yeah, Buddy Hield's one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. Right behind Curry, he is probably second. and he will finally get credit this season for it because he's going to be in a big market team, and the NBA loves the Warriors. So I give him a B. Do you agree with that?
Sure.
Next is the Rockets. They added nobody. They lost A.J. Griffin. This would have been an added. They added A.J. Griffin. A.J. Griffin decided to retire. He was only 23. He's only 23. He decided to retire from the game of basketball, so hopefully everything's good with him. They drafted Reed Shepherd, one of my favorite players from the draft. I give him a B- just because they didn't do anything in free agency. They spent all their money last year in free agency on Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks, which were not very good moves. But the Rockets, that's just the Rockets. I give them a B- just because getting Reed Shepherd is big. The bad thing is that they have so much guard depth that you're not going to see a lot of these guys play a ton of minutes. Because, you have Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Shepherd now, Almond Thompson, who was their first-round pick last year, Jalen Green. One of them guys isn't going to play much.
Yeah.
Which is sad. But, for the Rockets, they will be a solid team. I hate saying it because I don't like the Rockets, nor their fans, because their fans suck. That's coming from a Spurs fan. But they're going to be a solid team as long as they keep Alperen Sengun, who has been in trade rumors. I give the Rockets B-. Do you agree?
I'd go C. Just because the draft. That's it.
The Jazz, they added Patty Mills. I love this. I love Patty Mills. Of course, former Spur legend, Patty Mills. I'm a huge Patty Mills fan. He's a veteran presence to a team that really needs it because the Jazz are one of the youngest teams in the league. They lost Chris Dunn, not a huge loss. They had one of the best drafts. They drafted Cody Williams out of Colorado State, Isaiah Collier, and Kyle Filipowski, who both fell to them. I gave him a B+. This also adds into the fact that they kept Lauri Markkanen, because I think that is a huge keep. You keep Lauri Markkanen. You're going to have at least one more year with him. See what you can do with all these young guys. You still have George coming back. You have Kessler if you decide to keep him. You can still trade John Collins. And then, of course, you have Williams, Collier, and Filipowski. Plus Taylor Hendricks, who is my favorite player on the team. So see what they can do this year. You sign him. You sign Markkanen. If it doesn't work out, you can trade him next year, and guess what? You're going to get a ton of capital for Lauri Markkanen because he's one of the better young players in the game. So I give him a B+. I love their offseason. Bad thing is it's not going to turn into much.
Yeah.
So do you agree?
Yeah.
Next week, we get to look at the worst of the Western Conference. The Grizzlies, my San Antonio Spurs, and the Portland Trailblazers. Two of these teams had good off seasons. One of them did not. Moving on to baseball. The biggest news of the week, of course for you as a Reds fan, MLB's all-time hit leader Pete Rose passed away on Monday. Of course, Pete loved the game of baseball. The game of baseball didn't love him back. That's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah.
He should be a Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest players ever. Rest in peace to Pete Rose.
Great human, too. He's a great human.
You want to say anything else?
Put him in the Hall of Fame. I totally agree with what Stephen A. said.
Don't put him in the Hall of Fame. Honor his word. He said in an interview a few years ago that he does not want to be put in the Hall of Fame after he's dead. Because he was all about his teammates, his friends, his family. You don't want to honor him after. If you're going to put somebody in the Hall of Fame, I hate all these Hall of Fame people who, after somebody dies, they put him in. Pete Rose deserved to be in the first ballot that he was on. But, of course, he was banned from the Hall of Fame for betting on his own team. Don't put him in. He's not going to get in anyway. The MLB is not going to change it. Either way, he's one of the best players ever. This is just another, one of the greatest players that will never end up in the Hall of Fame because the MLB just sucks as a company, and Rob Manfred just blows. That's an easy way to put it. That's a nice way to put it.
Without getting canceled.
Yeah. So, of course, the MLB season is over. We're going to give our playoff predictions here in a second, although there's one that has already been done, which I will say I picked right because I filled out my bracket on Monday. So, batting average, Bobby Witt Jr. finished with the best batting average at 332. Vlad finished at 323. I feel like nobody talked about the season Vlad had. He had a very great year. Aaron Judge batted 322. Luis Arraez won the NL batting title at 314. He becomes the first player to win 3 consecutive batting titles on 3 different teams. He also snubbed Ohtani for the Triple Crown, which is even better. Home run leaders, Aaron Judge hit 58, Ohtani 54, Anthony Santander 44. He got literally no credit from anybody. Soto had 41 and Ozuna 39. Aaron Judge led in RBIs with 144. Ohtani had 130. Jose Ramirez had 118.
Once again, a guy that almost had a 40-40 season.
Yeah, he did not.
Talked about.
He did not have a 40-40 season. He had 39 and 41. He could have went 40-40, but their last game of the season got canceled.
Yeah.
Because of the hurt. And then Willie Adames and Brent Rooker had 112. People need to start paying attention to Brent Rooker.
He's good.
Brent Rooker is the leader of the A's team. Also, very emotional last game at Oakland. I watched it. Yeah. I watched it. I was almost in tears, and I'm not even an A's fan.
Yeah.
It was so emotional. The A's owner sucks. He's a piece of dog crap. I'm just saying this, and I'm going to keep this in because I don't care. You can cancel me if you want. And you ask anybody in Oakland, they'll agree with you. What he released to the fans, his little AI message, was very shitty of him to do. He does not care about the team. You want to know why he doesn't care about the team? Is because they haven't even agreed to build a stadium yet with Las Vegas. So they just may be the Sacramento A's from now on, playing at a minor league ballpark.
Yeah.
So yeah, but remember Brent Rooker. He had an unbelievable season, and nobody talked about him at all. Also, Willie Adames, a great season as well for the Brewers. He will be a free agent this offseason. Elly De La Cruz led in stolen bases with 67. He also led the league in strikeouts. Shohei had 59, and Bryce Terang had 50. Skubal won the AL pitching Triple Crown. He had 18 wins, a 2.39 ERA, and 228 strikeouts. Sale won the NL Triple Crown. 18 wins, 2.38 ERA, and 225 strikeouts. There's no doubt they're both going to be Cy Young winners. Ryan Helsley led the league in saves with 49. I'm surprised because,
that might have been all the wins the Cardinals had.
Yeah. Class A had 47. Class A had an unbelievable season, had a .63 ERA by the end of it. And Kyle Finnegan of my Nationals had 38. I believe that's about the same amount of games we won. The AL standings entering the postseason. So the Yankees are the 1 seed, 2 seed are the Guardians, 3 Astros, 4 Orioles, 5 Royals, 6 Tigers. The NL is the Dodgers, Phillies, Brewers, Padres, Braves, and Mets. So as you can see, I have the bracket right here. One that has already happened, Detroit eliminated the Astros. I had that happening. I didn't know if you would have picked the Astros.
I didn't really give us anything.
I picked Detroit just because they were a hot team. Now, I was thinking about the Astros just because, the Astros 7 straight ALCSs. It just wasn't their year. They got paired up with a Detroit team that has been the best team in baseball over the last month.
They also been riddled with injuries.
So, of course, they will move on. The Tigers are going to move on to play the Guardians in the ALDS. The other team, the other games for the wild card is the Royals and the Orioles.
I think Kansas City's leading right now.
The Royals are up 1-0 in the bottom of the 5th. They took game 1, so if they win, I had the Royals anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on, I know before the season I picked the Orioles to make it to the World Series. Their pitching has been terrible.
Yeah.
And they've lost a lot of pitchers. Of course, Grayson Rodriguez is out the rest of the season. Corbin Burns is really their only guy. I have them too, so I have them. I guess you're going to agree with the Royals. Now, who do you have in the ALCS?
So I have the Guardians taking down the Tigers because they are just a better team, in my opinion. Pitching's better. And if you get in the 8th inning and Class A comes out, it's a wrap. It's done.
If you get to the bullpen, that's over.
Yeah.
The Guardians have the best bullpen in baseball.
Yeah, and they have enough offense to put up runs. And we know how Jose Ramirez is. In the playoffs, he is a monster. They have a great defense, too. the Guardians is a great team. And then I have the Yankees beating Kansas City. I just think the offense is going to be overpowering.
I have the Guardians beating the Tigers, although I know in the beginning of the season I said the Tigers are going to make it. The Tigers have one pitcher, and it's Tariq Skubal. You saw today, they almost blew the game against the Astros because their starter, their starters are bad. Now, if they still had Flaherty,
yeah,
it'd be a tougher team to choose. But just because they have Skubal, they can get one win, maybe two, if they're going to have to pitch Skubal on short rest. Because, he's their only dominant starting pitcher.
And if there's one team that can get to him, though, it's the Guardians.
Yeah. The bullpen, their bullpen's terrible.
Yeah.
So just because the Guardians pitching, I like the Tigers' offense, but the Tigers' offense, you look at both them and the Royals. When you look at their offense, you don't think that they should be a playoff team.
Yeah.
But they both play with grit. They're both determined. And that is why I'm picking the Royals to move past the Yankees. Yes, I have the Yankees losing, and this is going to be Juan Soto's last game as a Yankee in the ALDS because he's coming home to Washington. So I have the Royals moving on. I like the Royals pitching. I don't like the Yankees pitching staff. Nestor Cortez got hurt his last start. Other than him, Luis Gil, they're thinking about bringing him out of the bullpen. Luis Gil's been their best pitcher because Garrett Cole, you don't know if he's going to go out there and throw a complete game shutout or go out there and get injured because that's really what he's done. But the Royals, their offense is good. Their pitching is good. Their relief pitching needs work a little bit, but nothing that the Yankees don't even have a closer right now. Because they took out Clay Holmes from being their closer, so who knows who's going to be closing for them. So I have the Orioles moving on. Who do you have coming out of the AL?
I have the Guardians.
I also have the Guardians. Their offense and their pitching is what is going to propel them. And also talking about that division, we talk about the Twins and how they absolutely just imploded at the end of the season. They were leading the division. Over the last 30 games, they won 12.
Yeah.
And found themselves out of the playoffs. I don't know what happened. They have a good lineup. They have good pitchers.
Yeah.
They just couldn't figure it out. I guess.
Special.
I guess they just need Royce Lewis. Royce Lewis wasn't going out there and hitting a grand slam every game.
Yeah.
So for the NL, of course, this series could be over tonight. Mets and Brewers, the Mets lead.
Both of them could be over tonight.
1-0, yeah.
And they both will be over.
So you're going with the Mets and Padres?
Yes.
I'm going with the Brewers and the Padres. I like what the Mets are doing. I like the Brewers more. The Brewers have better pitching. They have somewhat better hitting. The Mets are led by Lindor, and Lindor's dealing with a bad back. The Padres are going to sweep the Braves. The Braves shouldn't be in. It's amazing that they made it in with all the injuries that they've had. But watching that doubleheader against the Mets on Monday and just seeing some of the guys that they put out there, even their pitching staff, it's like, I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah.
They were just finding people off the street to put them in the lineup.
And it's still impressive they even made the postseason.
It is.
Brian Snitker was one of the best managers in baseball.
I did want to see the Diamondbacks get in. This is the first time since 2007 where the defending World Series teams did not make the postseason. Yeah. I really wanted to see them get in. Also, it's very weird. Diamondbacks scored the most runs in baseball this season, didn't make it in. The Seattle Mariners allowed the least amount of runs in baseball and didn't get it.
And then Fernando Tatis is him.
So who do you have moving on to the NLCS?
So, I have the Mets and the Phillies. I don't know which of the two teams you're going to get. They both are streaky teams. But I'm going to have to go with the Phillies just because the pitching is there. The pitching is there for the Phillies. And then for the Dodgers, Padres, I have the San Diego Padres beating the Dodgers. They are the hottest team in baseball. They'll just... Tatis is feeling it again. Fernando Tatis is feeling it, man. He's back. And that pimp job, oh crap, dude! It got me excited for the Padres.
I'm going with the Phillies over the Brewers. The Phillies, they were terrible in the second half of the season. They still came out with they could have been the 1 seed in this. I'd much rather be the 2 seed with who you'd have to play.
Yeah.
Because I do not want to face the Padres right now. But the Phillies, there's just something different about Red October in Philadelphia with them Philadelphia fans.
It's loud.
So I'm going with the Phillies. I'm also going with the Padres. Padres are the hottest team besides Tigers in baseball. They have their acquisitions at the trade deadline made them the second best. They have the second best pitching staff in the playoffs behind the Guardians.
Yeah.
Michael King has been unbelievable. Of course, he was a part of the Juan Soto trade. They've proved that they don't need Juan Soto because Jackson Merrill has stepped up perfectly. Manny's been great. I hate giving him credit, but Manny's been great. Tatis has been great.
Zandel,
Luis Arraez, you can always count on him to get a hit.
Just make contact.
So I'm going with the Padres. So we both have the same NLCS. Who makes it to the World Series?
I have the Padres going to the World Series, but they do not win.
I also have the Padres going to the World Series. Now, there is nothing more than I want. There's nothing more in life than I want to see Bryce win a championship. This is not the Phillies year. Because next year will be the Phillies year. Especially, they're talking about getting Soto.
Yeah.
Do you imagine that?
How they have the money for it? They're probably going to get rid of Schwarber if they get Soto.
Hey, their owner's not afraid to spend money.
Yeah, that's
and
a fact.
There's multiple teams, the Nationals, who just refuse to spend money. And you can talk about every team in the playoffs spends money. Besides the Tigers. The Tigers, their whole lineup is...
Milwaukee. Milwaukee don't spend the money. Yeah. They just develop it.
The Tigers, their whole lineup, they do not have one free agent on their roster, which is amazing. These guys aren't afraid to spend money. World Series. We have the same Guardians. World Series. I have the Padres. I think this is the Padres' year and the hottest team in baseball in the second half of the season. They're going to win their first World Series.
The Guardians get revenge from 2016 Cubs. This team was better than the 2016 Indians. This team is way better. They get it done. I like it.
Just can't blow a 3-1 lead.
That may happen. But not if Emmanuel Clauser's out there every time.
Who's your World Series MVP? Who's your playoff MVP? First off.
Jose Ramirez.
I'm going playoff MVP. I hate doing it. Manny Machado. World Series MVP.
Emmanuel Clase.
My World Series MVP. I'm going to do a rookie. I'm going to go
Merrill.
Jackson Merrill.
He's been forced since Pena to do it.
Jackson Merrill is the clutchest player in baseball.
He is clutch.
So that is our postseason.
Now in the stand, probably not. The freaking Mets may suck and lose it all. And who knows, the Braves are the Braves. You can never count them out.
Fans have already won, though. Fans win when the Astros go.
I like the Astros.
I don't mind the Astros. I wanted Detroit to
win. Yeah, of course. But,
I want to see new teams.
Yeah. But it's impressive what the Astros have done for the past 10 years.
Now, if they were healthy...
Oh, yeah.
They would be a World Series favorite.
They would be in the World Series.
But they have not been.
If their pitching stood together, they would be in the World Series.
They didn't even have Verlander on the postseason roster. So he had a 5.33 ERA.
Will he retire?
He should. Yeah. So should Max Scherzer.
They're both full spout Hall of Famers.
They won't. Yeah. They're making too much money.
Yeah.
Moving on to college football. The first thing for college, this isn't just college football because, frankly, they don't have a college football team. But just for college, Gonzaga, they do not have a college football team. Gonzaga will join the Pac-12 for all sports starting, I believe, next season. So this is going to be big in basketball because Gonzaga is a basketball school. This will actually give them competition whenever they didn't have much competition.
We'll see how good they actually are.
Gonzaga is still going to be a great team. The Pac-12, they've already added multiple people from the Mountain West, which includes Utah State, Fresno State, a bunch of others I'm not going to name because, frankly, I don't care. The Pac-12 is still trash. They need one more team to join them for them to actually be recognized as a conference. The Mountain West now needs to add 2 teams for them to be recognized as a conference for next season. Now back into college football, Week 5 recap. Number 7, Miami won in a questionable finish over Virginia Tech, 38-34. This should not have been a win. I don't know what the refs were doing. I don't know if you saw the finish of this game. They threw a Hail Mary last play of the game. They called it a touchdown on the field. They reviewed it for like 10 minutes. They said he did not catch it. It was an incomplete pass. It was Virginia Tech catching a touchdown. You looked at the video. You could not see the ball. So there was no video evidence to say it. And yes, just because Miami is a ranked team. Either way, Miami is a great team. They just shouldn't have won that game. You know who's not a great team? My Wisconsin Badgers. Number 13 USC came back to defeat Wisconsin 38-21. We were up 21-10 in this game.
What happened?
We suck. Braden Locke's trash. Luke Fickell
sucks.
I'm beginning to wonder why we actually hired you. How do you have a good team when you were at Cincinnati? You made the championship 4 at Cincinnati. Which is, Cincinnati's a crap college. No offense to Cincinnati. I mean, they have one good player ever come from Cincinnati, and that is Travis Kelce. And their last good player was Desmond Ridder, and look at him now. Dude's trash. I don't know what you're doing in Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a much better school. They're a much better powerhouse, and you just can't put together a winning team. Kentucky upset number 6 Ole Miss 20-17. This is a great game. Number 12 Michigan escaped Minnesota 27-24. Alex Orji actually threw for more than 30 passing yards. I believe he threw for 60.
Wow.
So he's just going to continue to double it every week. Number 23 Kansas State blew out number 20 Oklahoma State 42-20. You picked Kansas State last week. I picked Oklahoma State. I'm sorry that I ever picked Oklahoma State to do anything. They refused to give the ball to Ollie Gordon. I watched this game. They refused to give the ball to Ollie Gordon. I don't know why. Ollie Gordon's the second best running back in all of college football, because I'll tell you later on who is the best. And you don't give them the ball, you don't win. Number 16 Notre Dame defeated number 15 Louisville 31-24. I was very disappointed in this game because Notre Dame. But they'll find a way. They will find a way. It's in Notre Dame's nature to find a way to lose another game and not make the college football playoff. Number 21, Oklahoma picked up their first SEC win over Auburn, 27-21. There was a lot of great games this week. 9 Penn State took down number 19 Illinois, 21-7. This was not a good game. I'm glad I didn't watch it. I watched the highlights and it was trash. Arizona upset number 10 Utah, 23-10. And of course, the biggest game was number 4 Alabama. They avoided a collapse to defeat Georgia, 41-34. Georgia was down 28-0. They actually took the lead before Alabama's freshman Ryan Williams. I think that's his name.
Yeah, he's 17.
He is electric. He's an unbelievable player. He's the next great wide receiver. Between him and the freshman at Ohio State, who's also a wide receiver, them two are going to be the best wide receivers
in college football.
Yeah, for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Or more, knowing college football's rules.
Are they better than Marvin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Ryan Williams is.
Yeah.
And he only has room to grow.
Yeah.
He's only 17. For Alabama, this is a huge win for them. Huge win without Nick Saban.
Yeah.
For Georgia, this is a tough loss. He came back all the way. He allowed that big touchdown. Carson Beck did not look good at all. He threw 3 interceptions, I believe. Two of the interceptions was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you see the guy, and he threw it right into the numbers.
Was it like a Will Levis thing?
No, Will Levis. This should propel Jalen Milroe to the top of the Heisman race. This should also make Jalen Milroe the top quarterback in next year's draft if he continues. Now, I've been very tough on Jalen Milroe. Nick Saban was tough on Jalen Milroe as well. Remember, he got benched last year.
Yeah.
He has been unbelievable since, and he is the lone reason that Alabama is good. So the new rankings, after that, Alabama takes over number 1. Texas is 2. Quinn Ewers is expected to be back this week. 3 is Ohio State, 4 Tennessee, 5 Georgia, 6 Oregon, 7 Penn State, 8 Miami, 9 Mizzou, and 10 is Michigan. How Michigan moved up into the top 10, I don't know. Number 12 is Ole Miss. They dropped down 6 spots. Number 17, BYU, moved up 5 spots. Who would have guessed BYU would be good?
Yeah.
Number 18, Utah, dropped down 8 spots. 22, Louisville, dropped down 7 spots. And 24, Illinois, dropped down 5 spots. The best player in college football right now is Boise State's running back, Ashton Jeanty. I think that's how you say his name. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Either way, he's a great player. So I can screw up your name if I'm giving you praise. In 4 games, he has 82 carries, 845 rushing yards, and 13 touchdowns. He is averaging over 12 yards per carry. If you've watched him play, Boise State's a very good team. They are the favorite to be that non-conference, non-Power 5 conference to make the playoff. This guy's electric. He's going to be a first-round pick in next year's draft. And that is tough for me to say because out of everybody, I hate taking running backs in the first round. But this guy's different.
Is it more hype than Bijan right now? Because Bijan was a ton of hype.
I wouldn't say that just because Bijan was on a good team.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about Boise
Is this
State,
like a Jahmyr
but they
Gibbs
should.
thing?
Jahmyr Gibbs was on Alabama.
Oh, was he?
This guy's very good. He should be at the top of the Heisman race. They won't give him the Heisman.
No.
Just because they're going to give it to a quarterback and from a Power 5 school. So,
even though he deserves it right now.
Yeah. Week 6. Some interesting matchups this week. There's only one ranked matchup, but some spicy picks. Syracuse and 25 UNLV. UNLV's quarterback quit last week because they told him they were going to give him NIL money. They failed to do so. He left. They're undefeated. He left them. I probably would have done the same thing. I believe they were supposed to give him $100,000. They barely paid him $2,000. So I probably would have left too. Either way, they won last week. Who wins?
Syracuse.
I'm also going Syracuse. Syracuse has I forget what his name is. He was Ohio State's starting quarterback last year. He has been great this season. And Syracuse is a good football school. They're never ranked, but they're always solid. The only ranked matchup this week is number 9 Mizzou versus number 25 Texas A&M.
Mizzou.
I'm also going with Mizzou. They need this game. They have to get it right because if they lose Texas A&M, their hopes of making the college football playoffs over. Iowa versus number 3 Ohio State.
Ohio State.
I shouldn't even put this game. I think it would be closer than you think, though. I'm going to Ohio State. It will be interesting to see what Iowa's offense can do. You know what their defense can do. You know what their punters can do.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if K. McNamara is actually able to make plays against this stout Ohio State defense. Auburn versus number 5 Georgia. I'm also going Georgia, but this will be closer than you think as well. Auburn's a very good team. They almost won last week against Oklahoma. Number 12, Ole Miss versus South Carolina.
Ole Miss.
I'm also going Ole Miss. Number 10, Michigan versus Washington.
Washington.
I'm also going with Washington. Michigan's just, they're in that stage where they can be upset by anybody.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a quarterback. Number 8, Miami versus Cal. I believe this is Cal's first ACC game.
Miami.
I'm also going with Miami. On other sports, the United States won the President's Cup. Good for them. Ross Chastain won at Kansas.
Kyle's just bad luck, dude.
This is a huge win for Ross Chastain's first one of the season. This is an even worse loss for the rest of the playoff field. Because the rest of this round absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
Because it is Talladega, which is this weekend, then the Charlotte Roval.
Yeah.
So you really wanted to win at Kansas. Of course, William Byron finished second.
Sucks for Kyle Larson and all who has had horrible weeks. He's had a horrible week.
Talladega is this weekend. Who wins?
Ryan Blaney.
I'm going to go with, I'm going to hate this pick, but I'm going to go with Chase Briscoe locks himself into the next round.
Ew. He caused Kyle Busch to crash.
Yeah.
Kyle is just, I think he's just done. He's just fed up.
I would be too if I had to race for Richard Childress and his spoon-fed grandchildren.
I think he's going to Gibbs next year if he gets the opportunity. And then the Kyle Busch reign will be back. And he won the championship in his last year.
You act like next year's going to be his last year.
It might be if he has to stay with Richard Childress.
The WNBA playoffs, there is no other racing on. Remember, F1's off until... WNBA playoffs, so Liberty will lead the Aces 2-0. Game 3 is Friday. No team has ever come back from down 0-2. So, congratulations to the Liberty for making it to the finals.
And probably winning the whole thing.
I don't believe the Aces are going to be able to come back. They have not looked as good as they did last season. The Lynx and Sun are tied 1-1. Game 3 is Friday. Game 4s are Sunday if they're necessary for at least the Liberty and Aces. Game 5 is Tuesday if necessary for both series. The WNBA finals begin next Thursday. We will give our predictions next Wednesday. Of course, I believe both of us are going to be having the Liberty. Thank you guys for listening. Come back. You don't have anything else. Thank you guys for listening. Come back here next week. Hockey. Hockey begins Thursday? Tomorrow? I don't know. The hockey season. No, next Thursday. Next Tuesday. Sometime. Within the next week of you listening to this, the NHL season will have started. I can't wait for the Blackhawks to come back. We're going to be good. We're not going to be good. But we're going to get that dub the first game because we are playing the Utah Hockey Club. I believe that's what their name is. Frankly, I don't care. I'm going to call them the Arizona Coyotes because that's who they are. Thank you guys for listening. Come back here next week. Enjoy the best time of the year. This is the MLB postseason.
It is the best.